So we've all heard it multiple times. Gen Z don't want to work, Gen Z are lazy asses, Gen Z cannot work to save their freaking lives. But let's be real. Who the hell wants to work for their whole lives and still not be able to buy an apartment? Interesting fact, I'm actually 23. I'm Gen Z, even though I look like I'm 56. So basically, I hacked the system because I can both take on the role as a Gen Zer and a boomer.
If you had all the money you ever needed, would you still work?
Definitely not.
Their loyalty spans are very, very short.
I've been laid off multiple times and I'd only been at the position 3 months. They just think my ideas are so absurd.
It comes across to me as, how do we do less work?
I think you guys are stubborn.
Because we use technology for a lot of things that we're lazy.
I'm not sure you value how hard you have to work.
What's the worst thing about my generation?
Number one, yeah, obviously, if I had all the money in the world, I would not work. And if you had all the money in the world and you still would work, you're crazy, and leave this video. If you actually have something that you love that much and you can work either way, if you had all the money in the world, more power to you. And secondly, that random boomer that said, I'm not sure you value how much you have to work. And do you know how much I have to work to buy an apartment? Like a 1-bedroom apartment, 50 fucking years. So for someone from my country or for someone from the US, maybe 25, maybe 30 years with the average paycheck, right? And how much did you have to work? You had to work for maybe 5 years to buy a house.
What motivates you more? Money, passion, or stability?
The thing that motivates me more than anything else is seeing the people around me thrive. The passion of the people around me is what drives me.
At least at this point in my life, super easy, I'd jump to passion. I think that's the thing that from day one can be motivating to, the day they put you in the ground.
I agree to an extent. I think I want passion to be the driver, but the way that the cost of living is just so expensive, it's like I kind of have to put that aside and really just be money driven.
If I had more money, I could have a house. I feel like I could provide more for a family. I think that, I guess this is getting into kind of another topic, but I just think like my value as a man is somewhat tied to the amount of money I have. It just opens a lot of doors that I may not have access to right now.
I gotta be honest, the best, most lovingly cutesy advice you can give someone is to follow your passions. But in my opinion, if we're being real, that doesn't always work, okay? If your passion is to finish a liberal arts degree, you're freaking fucked. If your passion is to study gender studies, you're freaking fucked. So if someone asked me, I would say I would probably find something that I can bear with to go to work and study it and all this stuff that I know that's probably gonna have a bright future and there's a lot of jobs for it, and that's a well-paid job. And there's potential to, build a business from it, obviously, right? But that doesn't really mean that you have to be 100% passionate for what you're doing. At least that's what I believe. Some people are just set in stone. I'm gonna do this because this is my passion. I do not give a flying F. And you know what? More power to you guys. Just leave us alone when you're coming to our houses to beg for money. No, go on the street, beg for money. Leave me alone. But jokes aside, stability and money, obviously. That's a weird question. Money, stability, or passion? Doesn't stability come with money? Am I dumb?
Do you think your generation has it easier than mine?
No. No, we're the ones that, walked uphill 10 miles in the snow to school.
I think as far as a career goes, I think that boomers had it a bit harder than Gen Zs. I think there was more demand on them, on their time. It was so much less flexible.
I would argue that the job market is a little bit harder now. Like going to college and getting a degree, it doesn't pay off as much as it used to. These entry-level jobs they can't get because they don't have the experience.
We went through a recession in
That's true.
1980 and 1981, but then we had the Great Recession in 07 and 08, and we were going, everybody's shutting down, there's no jobs, what are we gonna do? So I think every generation goes through these waves. Right now, I'd agree, the job market's a bit rough.
I do think people think that this generation has it easier because of all of the advancements, but I don't think it's easier. There's like this pressure to make 6 figures by 22 and graduate in 4 years, and you have to do all these things while you're young. And I think that we're just always worried about not being good enough or not being on the right track.
So I know this question is more geared towards work. I do really believe if we involve anything in this question, like dating, relationships, social life, all this stuff, I do think for most stuff right now, Gen Zers have it a little bit more rough. But this video is only about work. It's only about professional stuff, right? So I can't really argue with this. My grandpa and my dad have talked about this many times, and they did go through recession. And also my grandfather and my father also had to go to military stuff and practice that and do all those military drills, because it was just another time and I didn't have to do that. And yeah, right now the job market, freaking horrible. Nobody's being paid enough. But I do believe that this is a kind of a question where always every single generation is gonna complain that they had it the hardest, they had it the worst, blah blah blah, which is fair, which is fine, but there's one huge difference. No one in history was in danger to lose their job from AI. And listen, I know everybody's gonna tell me, oh, but Industrial Revolution, a lot of people lost their jobs. Yeah, but a lot of jobs were also created. A lot of other jobs that demand other higher skilled positions, right? In the future of AI, what everyone's saying, there won't be any job. That shit scares the hell out of me every single day possible. But if AI gets to that freaking point and there's only CEOs and there's no workers, what the hell do we do then?
What's the worst thing about my generation?
Okay, this is no offense to anyone in specific. It's very hard to get through to some baby boomers. They can be very, very hard-headed, and they're not willing to acclimate to this new generation.
The ones I've interacted with don't see that other people can work differently, live their life differently, and thrive.
They just think my ideas are so absurd.
If I had to answer with a criticism,
It's just the amount of time in front of a screen, I would say is the worst thing.
I'm not sure you value how hard you have to work to get to where you want to get to.
My answer isn't to nitpick an element of something that is done differently than the way I do it. It is in the idea that I'm not convinced that the generation and the people that I'm speaking of, and again, same thing with you, I'm speaking in generality, right? Believes that they can do more, believes it's not about that if they can find a way to take a bigger risk, that they could just fly and absolutely change everything because of the way they use technology and because of the things that they do. Just the beginning of that pursuit, even when it goes completely awry and completely wrong, is worth it, so that you're never second guessing it and you don't leave this life with any regret.
Not gonna lie, at the end, what this guy said, I cried a little bit, okay? So basically, he's actually a smartass and I'm a dumbass, and I have to dumb it down to understand. He basically wanted to say, even though most of us, the younger generation, don't really believe that we can change a lot, and his message was to at least try and not get so devastated and immediately give up when it goes wrong. Even on the 15th time, don't just freaking give up, okay? Because it is way better to live your life knowing that you have tried one or multiple, 100 stuff in order to see if you can change and succeed in something, than to second guess yourself and just never try it and just live in regret, thinking of how it would maybe be if I just had tried and done it. That's how I understood it. If anyone else thinks that I misunderstood what he said, tell me in the comments. I'm a fucking dumbass, okay? And with this question, here's my answer. What do I think is the worst for the boomer generation and what is the worst for the Gen Z generation? For the boomer generation, the thing I hate the most, and a lot of people may or may not disagree with me, I don't care, tell me in the comments, destroy my ass, is that as people get older, they just reject the new modern normality. And I'm not saying that everything that's happening right now in the West has to be accepted as the new normal, okay? But let's say, for example, if you would ask a far right person, or just a right person, 50 years ago, do they approve of LGBT people, of, gay people? The answer would be immediately no. Fast forward, it's 2025. The normal right person, politically right person, would say, I have no problem with gay people. This is what's happening in the Balkans. This is what's happening in my part of the world. A lot of people are still very racist and are still very unaccepting of people's different sexualities. It's like, it doesn't change your life if someone wants to suck some D or hit some holes. What am I saying? As you get older, you just reject everything and you think how you lived your life and how people, society thought what was normal 50 years ago, that should be the only way 5,000 years in the future still. That's not going to happen, okay?
What misconceptions do you think people have about the way your generation works?
Well, I think the easy one is Gen Zers can be seen as lazy or not willing to work as hard.
And that technology is doing all the work for us, which I don't think is the case.
Kind of like a get in, get out mentality of like, I'm just here to get money and I don't care about anything else. I think it's just a little bit of a pushback against like companies that ask for a lot more work for the same amount of pay.
I don't feel like Gen Zers are lazy at all. I think they're full of ambition, but it's just in a different way. It's maybe more myopic. I don't know, like, not what's good for the company, but what works for me.
The boomer generation and older people tended to place more emphasis on work and position and promotions and those kinds of things.
I think the work-life balance is a little different now.
Yeah.
And we were, like, growing up, we were able to see that in our parents and grandparents and just how much they worked and how much stress that they were under. And I think a lot of us just don't want the pressure of that.
We, as Gen Z, have a fear of being given way too much if we express too much curiosity and intelligence, I guess. And so I understand where like our fear is with that.
I've seen that just as being female. Women feel like if they say no, that it's going to hurt their career. And so they say yes, 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 until they have way too much on their plate. It's very important to learn when to pull back.
I do think that a lot of the stuff that we do for work is much more lazier because of technology and AI. And I'm speaking as someone working in tech as a software engineer. But at the same time, a lot of that laziness isn't just because there's technology. A lot of that laziness is because I'm demotivated and a lot of other people are demotivated. Why? Economics. I don't need to explain anything else. You all know what I mean, right? But also, we've come to a point in culture where there's more freedom of expression of what you want, what you like, how something can be changed. And we don't really like very strict rules. And it's not that I'm not gonna work in the company and I don't give a F and I'm gonna fuck up the company. No, it's that some of the rules that have been there for like 50 freaking years, they are dumb. And from what I've seen from my parents and from my grandparents, they just blindly follow the rules. And I'm not saying following the rules is always a bad thing, okay? Follow the rules, especially the law, okay? But when it comes to company rules and how you're supposed to work, the older generation were just, these are the rules, this is how the CEO or my manager is telling me to do it, and I'll do it this way. And we are saying, let's try and make it easy and good as possible for everybody while still finishing the work as perfectly as possible and making our clients happy. But at the same time, my guy, I'm supposed to wear a full freaking suit to type in some code for 3 hours on 100-degree weather? Look, let's do it from home. Also, I can eat my own meal from home and it's gonna be way less expensive. Fucking dumbasses. If you want to watch the full video, it's in the description. There are still a little bit more stuff that I talked about and you can check it out. I don't know why this channel doesn't even have more subscribers. See the channel, check it out. Tell me what you guys think in the comments and have a nice day.